Professor Sharpstein, I just really wanted to go to what came up not once, not twice, but 3 times this weekend. Fauci says there's a schism in America. It's a division, a split, a rift, a breach, a rupture, a break, a separation. What do you do on the Delta variant if you're in a part of America that's 70% vaccinated?
Well, there are parts of America that are 40% vaccinated or 35% vaccinated, and those are the parts which are now seeing not only an increase in cases, but an increase in hospitalizations due to the Delta variant. So, you know, it's like, here we go again in those places. And, you know, it's really important to be vaccinated there, but more generally, it reflects a big problem that we're having, having people ready for the vaccine.
I get that, but what do we do in the parts of the country that are 60, 70, or even more percent vaccinated? Do we just go on with our lives, or do we have to amend our lives because another part of America is down at 38%?
Well, as long as there are places that are at 38%, the places that are at 70 or 80 are going to be at risk. Now, the people who are vaccinated right now are pretty protected, but what about people who have conditions that, the vaccine doesn't work so well for them? They're immunocompromised, for example, or children, or, some particularly older adults.
Dr.
There are
Sharpstein,
risks to people, even if they're vaccinated in some cases.
I apologize to interrupt, but this is a really crucial point that I really haven't heard before. The vaccine does not work for certain individuals. How many people are we talking about?
Well, there are probably, hundreds of thousands, if not maybe a little bit more than 1 million, something like that, who have such significant medical conditions that they're just not going to react to the vaccine. It may even be more as you consider people on immunosuppressive drugs. We don't know exactly how much risk they're at, but it looks like they're not responding to the vaccine as well, and some people may not be responding at all. So they have to worry that they're going to come in contact with somebody who is infectious. Now, if you're in an area without very many cases, that risk is low. But as long as the virus is really spreading in parts of the country, that risk is going to be there.
Dr. Sharpstein, I think the confusion also stems from the uncertainty around what the threshold is to return to normal life. I know the United Kingdom is struggling with this as well. Does it become, as John has talked about, a public health issue when we have individuals who might suffer, but as a whole, the healthcare system is not going to be torpedoed by a flood of cases?
Well, I think it matters that, the healthcare system is going to be stable. I think that does allow for, a lot of things to return to normal. But it still makes it unfortunate for people who have to take extra protections if they're doing that because, other people haven't decided to be vaccinated. It's even worse for the people who haven't decided to be vaccinated because they're at risk for getting very sick or dying.
How close are we to an under 12 vaccine?
I think you have to wait for the studies to be done. Right now, the companies are looking for the right dose to make sure that, they have a dose that is both able to create the protection, but without, side effects. And so until we see the data, it's hard to say. Those studies are going on, and I think we'll have probably the early readouts in the next couple months.
Doctor, I still haven't got a clear read on this. Why are we vaccinating children?
Well, we're vaccinating adolescents because they can get COVID. Many of them have. They can get severe cases of COVID. They can pass it on to people in their peer group and who are older. So, the COVID is as bad or worse, depending on the prevalence compared to a bad flu season. And we vaccinate kids against flu. It's a horrible disease when kids get it severely, and they can have long COVID just like adults can.
But as you point out, we don't shut things down for the flu, do we? But we are with this. And if we are at a stage, which you just alluded to, sir, and clarify if you want to, where we can treat this as flu, why aren't we treating it as flu?
Well, I think going into the fall, we're basically going to be. We're going to want kids to be vaccinated, and they should be back in school. That's what we do for flu.
Dr. Sharpstein, where have we gone wrong when we look at the political divide that we see Republicans who are more inclined not to get vaccinated and Democrats more inclined to get vaccinated? Where have we gone wrong when it comes to messaging on a public health level, just based on the science?
Well, that's a great question because you wouldn't imagine a political divide in cancer treatment or a political divide in how to treat your ear infection. But suddenly we have what appears to be a political divide in whether to get a safe and effective vaccine for a horrible and lethal illness. I think that the roots of that are probably, complicated, but I think it's a very bad development that the right-wing media have sort of adopted this as a political call to arms, that like if you believe in, that you don't like the Biden administration, then you shouldn't get vaccinated. And that message is just a terrible thing for public health. It's really irresponsible. People should be able to make a decision to protect themselves based on the science and the facts.